Okay, so here we are in game one of this best of three series, played out in the Alpha Navigators Cup number 23. And this was one of the winners' semifinals. And this player here is our blue Infernal player, Aftermath Theory. His opponent, the red Infernal, is msrm. These two have met a number of times in this series, but also in other tournaments as well. I'm sure they know each other very well. Let's see what kind of openings they have this game. We've got a Vault and Conclave from msrm. One on the high ground, one on the low. And a little bit more SimCity. It's also a Vault Conclave. So we got kind of mirror builds with slightly different SimCities. And yeah, these two are very similar so far. Now, where did their Hexens go? So, of course, with the crossbond on Furious, the Hexen Scout is, no matter which direction you go, you're going to miss out. You rarely go cross first. But Theory's... Okay, so why did he march this way and then teleport home? I'm not... Maybe just change his mind. You know, sometimes you change your mind. I do, at least. But often these players have really good strategies and plans. Like if I don't see them, I already know that I'm just going to teleport home. Or maybe I'll send a skull in another direction or something. Now msrm's creeping these Shadow Mastiffs and kind of getting beat up a little bit. His Hexen, there you go. Maybe he did that intentionally, letting her tank a little bit so that she could go eat that cabbage and heal up, and then getting the speedy boost and heading out, and being just slightly ahead of creeping of Theory, also creeping his camp, not really using, looked like he used maybe his Brute to do more of the tanking there. And now we have msrm going for Vision next, whereas it looks like we've got Health Camp next on Theory's menu. More units coming to join. I kind of like msrm's idea here. There's less time wasted moving across the map here and there. The shadow demons are not that much more difficult. If you just reinforce a little bit, you should be able to take them out. And now the health camp gets taken out by Theory. He can, of course, then get the healing benefit from that. But that means he's going to miss out on his vision camp now because msrm has come and stolen it. That's maybe another reason to get more aggressive out on the map with your creeping. You can steal it before your friend gets there. Your friend, your opponent. These two are probably friends. I assume they are. Theory's a nice friendly guy. And so is msrm, actually. So we'll assume they're friends that have been forced to battle. And right now, that battle is going a little bit in the favor of msrm, who catches some of the reinforcing units of Theory, kills a Brute, a couple Gaunts. Pardon me, had a little cough there, as still recovering from a cold from last weekend. But msrm went to get the health camp, not being aggressive. And what do we have here? So these are Fiends. Okay, I saw some of Theory's units out on the map. I think they were out on the map trying to get in the way of, and maybe it looks like getting some kills on reinforcing units, most likely Gaunts. And okay, msrm's deciding to continue with the aggression and move into this natural, although Theory does have a small group of units here to help and an okay sort of wedge or choke to fight in. Not the kind of SimCity we've seen in some of his earlier matches against High. And I think that's because High, of course, playing Celestial, has that Kree threat. And yeah, there are Fiend run-bys, but Fiend run-bys are not quite as devastating as a Kree run-by. So just a little bit of jockeying for position here. msrm trying to steal this speed camp, while Theory is trying to get the vision camps. And msrm sees, okay, your army's out of position, and I do have some speedy, and I'm gonna come in, and that's exactly what I was talking about. The fiend run bys, the fiends come and see all the imps turn to fight, and they're like, oh yeah, you guys can fight, I'm out of here. Of course, there were a few units there as well to help back them up. And that must be a misrally. Sometimes when you're clicking around there, your units decide, oh, the fastest way to do that is to run back the other way. And msrm is bringing his army back out. They have all the debuff. Did they? Okay, that's curious. Cleared the camp, but didn't capture it. That was probably just an accident. That's sometimes if you're moving quickly. But it looks like just creeping from him. Sorry, he's got sort of a big kind of ball, but out on the map trying to get map control and get some of that income. Whereas TheoRy here, okay, also moving out on the map, and looks made a little trail of effigies out to the camp here. And again, that's sort of suggesting that he wants to maybe use Weaver tech. That'll allow those Weavers to move a little bit quicker. But msrm's coming right on top of this creeping army. And yeah, one Magmadon out. Chose to path in a very strange way. And Nightfall just whiffing actually. So not the best stomp or trample or Nightfall infestation there. That means TheoRy's gonna have to retreat. He's pulling back his mag. His mag does chomp down on a fiend for some white health, and then turns around with a trample to say, get back out of here. And that's one thing that the mags are good at, is some zoning. So I thought he might be doing some Weaver tech, but opens with a mag first, and there's a Weaver popping out. Actually opting for a second mag. So not just doing the one mag meta that's been happening in the last week. And that mag doing a pretty good trample on low on health. Getting, ooh, very cool. Using the Weaver Lash ability to do the not very often used skill to regain white health from a lash. And there we saw it again. Thank you for doing that again, TheoRy. You're probably hearing me from the past saying, I need another demo of that so you can explain what it does. So yes, when you lash your own units, instead of getting stunned and damaged, they regain their white health. Really good on mags, actually. Now, these mags are getting a little bit low again. They're forced to retreat. And this is actually good from msrm to put the pressure on. If he can kill those mags, while there's not a lot of defending army with them, that's going to be the best. Of course, mags and weavers regain white health so fast that the Magmadon one's almost all the way at full. And when I say so fast, what I really mean is in a measurement of HP per second, because the actual white health regen is 2%, 4%, or 6%, depending on what tier you're on. And that's for every unit. It's not different for anyone. That's always the same. But when you're a big unit like a Magmadon or a Weaver, that translates into a lot more hit points regenerated every second. And so if you're trying to DPS down, say, a Weaver with a couple Gaunts, or even more than that, they might be out-healed by how many hit points are being healed every second. So something to keep in mind. Big units just regen more HP per second on Shroud. And it looks like both units have returned to just sort of creeping. And there's a lash on a creep there. That's something that's kind of common on this big map. One of them pinging the middle of the map saying, hey, did you know that there is another camp there? I'll meet you there. Let's fight over it. And we'll see who that was. And a Weaver going back to capture the camp. That's sort of funny. Weavers are kind of the slow units. You don't usually send them back. You want to send your Fiends or maybe your Reaper's Rush Gaunts. Speaking of which, both sides gaunts are fully upgraded, and oops, getting that little scrolly bug. Now TheoRy's got a lot more gaunts here, and that's just like a little tiny strike force from msrm. I think that might have intended to be like a little, maybe I'll get up in there on your mineral line. And msrm wins the V5 rocket battle. He's the one who goes and takes that creep camp. And now that V5 rocket is doing damage to effigies. And ooh, a huge splash on all those units there. But a lash on the V5 rocket to get it pulled in and stunned down. So TheoRy is able to clean that up. We have some lashes on TheoRy's Magmadons going down from msrm. And they're cleaned up. And now a bunch of guns push forward, but actually say, no, I'm going to decide better of that. Move out. The concave was just a little bit better in TheoRy's favor. So msrm is retreating. And being chased all the way back by a few fiends, then turning to fight them. And TheoRy going to grab some creeping, and msrm regrouping, got a dragon in tow now, turning and saying, okay, let's see if I can get back on. Where did that army go again now? Want to get back on top of it, maybe see if I can do some damage. Now, are there some slow lingering weavers out here on the map? And boom, 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 teleport away, hokey pokey. I wish they did a dance like the Hexen, or maybe I'm just inventing that they're dancing. But they teleport away. And now we've got a nice little battle in the middle here. There was a little bit of a surround from TheoRy, and that actually looked like it was in his advantage, but the way he was microing, he pulled the flanking units right into the middle of msrm's army, and they got taken out. And I think the dragon from msrm is meaning that there's just going to be more fiends showing up on his side at the moment. And he's deciding to push forward. He's on top of the natural here, but TheoRy's got him a little bit wedged in. And TheoRy's units are able to engage with these gaunts, and that means that, well, hopefully more fiends are going to go bad now. No, there's just a lot of fiends from msrm. We got some fiery burning from the Hellborn, but there's just too many fiends there, too many gaunts. And this is going to get cleaned up. So TheoRy's units almost all gone, but there's one hero mag here trying to get some stomp. The Nightfall infestation as well going down. And that's going to be a GG out of TheoRy. Okay, here we are in game 2 of this best of 3 series with TheoRy here in the blue Infernal, spawning in the bottom right of Lost Hope. Keep wanting to call it Lost Temple. And his opponent in the red Infernal, msrm, the top left. So they are cross spawned here. Means their Hexens are going to again scout to the wrong location. Didn't matter which way they go, usually. Although on this map, at least before all spawn locations were possible, I used to scout cross spawn first. So I was going to say you don't usually do cross spawn first, but I used to go cross spawn first because it was either a vertical spawn or a cross spawn before the changes of the most recent patch, and by that I mean 0.1, I think is when that came up. And well, now it's all spawns, so now we see a slightly different pattern for scouting. And it looks like TheoRy's decided health camp first, while msrm is going to go speed camp first. And I think speed camp first is a little bit more common, especially if you know that your opponent is not nearby. In fact, maybe even if you know your opponent is nearby, so that you can try and get it before them or harass them while they're trying to get it. But TheoRy going for the health camp first, and I think that just might mean a little bit faster creeping. We'll see. He's got his farm up at this camp, but he's now going for the speed camp. And if msrm, yeah, goes for the vision camp next, there's a Fellhog there. And the Fellhogs are going to fight the Shadow Demons. So basically, these Felhogs are tanking for MSRM right now. But of course, TheoRy got wind that this was going down and decided to get out on the map too. Now they're going to fight over the Shadow Demon first. Who's going to get final kill? msrm trying to just micro to get it. It's again not very clear who got it. And now they're just deciding to fight each other. msrm trying to micro his Gaunts back, but there are now 3 Fiends on top of them. And this is looking like it might be going in TheoRy's favor. There are more Fiends for him, and he's microing his Fiends. He's got a surround on the Hexen. The Hexen goes down. Now there's just 2 Gaunts. The Gaunts are not going to be able to fight, so they actually turn and run. But, there's a Brute here as well. Kind of hard to see the team colors sometimes. And so the single Brute and 3 Gaunts of msrm retreat from a very similar force, basically, plus a Hexen here. And Felhogs. Can't underestimate the Felhog. And so after that skirmish around the Vision Camp, they're going to both go back to their creeping. msrm going for health. TheoRy going, it looks like, to finish off the speed. He probably had that started when he saw his farm was in danger. So TheoRy getting a little advantage here from having that farm in the center of the map. I think is how he got that. It just gave him that extra boost to take over that Vision Camp. It wasn't clear if he managed to get into either of the Shadow Demons, but the farm certainly helping in the center of the map. Now creeping out the health camp next. Where is he planning now? He's maybe being aggressive or trying to get on this camp. But a lot of Gaunts from msrm. And TheoRy only got to see half of them. So he doesn't know that his army, you might think, hey, my army is about the same size. It kind of is, as this ball here. And just a little bit better cohesion for TheoRy's army. Meaning he might get a kill on that Gaunt. But, oh, does get a kill. And maybe got to see all the other Gaunts there. Maybe not, because he's retreating a little bit. And okay, so now msrm is going into the Vision Camp, and it looks like TheoRy's going to abandon that farm. Let msrm take it out. And he's retreating back to his base, where there's a couple more Gaunts waiting. And no Plague Axes yet. Do we have a Ritual Chamber? Yes, we do. And Plague Axes is very close to being done. So TheoRy's just hoping that he can get it, let it get done. But no, he has to turn and fight. So no, we see him microing back. Just doesn't want to engage until the Plague Axes are done. And we do have Plague Axes from msrm, so this is not looking good for TheoRy. The Plague Axes do manage to get infest on a lot of those Gaunts, and now we see Fiends showing up. That's just a ton of Fiends. This might already be over as TheoRy retreats back to the high ground. His Plague Axe is now also done. Best case scenario, he gets some Fiends of his own, but no, his Gaunts have to turn. There's a Manifest Shroud Stone, and that can help out. But there's just so many Fiends here, and msrm just micros away from the Manifest Shroud Stone. That was maybe not the best location for it to guard the base. And ooh, a nice Nightfall Infestation. So TheoRy's still trying to stay in this, trying to get what he can, turning his imps to fight. His imps are always happy to do that. And he's still got a few Plague Axe Gaunts of his own, managing to get, you know, infest down on some of those units. Hopefully to get some Fiends of his own, but now Fiends are actually showing up for msrm, and that's going to be a GG.